How can computer-based adaptive assessments, like the MAPS test, help us as teachers? How and why should we add more testing to our already busy schedules, all in the name of supporting our teachers and impacting the learning of our students? Elementary and middle school teachers are asked to do a lot over the length of 180 days. We as teachers are asked to introduce new concepts and ideas, assess students on these and other previous learned concepts, control behavior, build students up and motivate them, all while comparing this work to their grade level standards. Understandably, we are very possessive of our time, knowing that time wasted is time lost. We do not look fondly upon the idea of giving up our classroom time for things that don't benefit our students and their educational expectations. For this reason, many teachers have a negative idea about standardized tests. Traditionally, standardized tests are given once a year. The results of the test are not available until long after the test is given, giving students no real buy-in when it comes to the test, thus possibly not always giving their best effort. With the data coming so late after the test, teachers are not able to use the information from the test to influence what or how they will teach those students. Plus, all students are given the same or similar test, so students who are above standard become bored or are not challenged. Students who are below standard become frustrated and tend to give up. But what if you give an online assessment that tests the students where they are at academically? An assessment that can give both the student and teacher basic results immediately after the test. And for the teacher, also break down the results into conceptual categories, giving the teacher information on the academic levels of their students, thus giving them the ability to differentiate instruction and meet the needs of the individual student. Now we can. I would like to recommend that our school begin using the Northwest Evaluation Association's MAPS quarterly assessment. The MAPS assessment is a computer-based adaptive assessment that will provide us with specific data that can help us be more accurate in making our RTI-related adjustments and decisions. As we witnessed last year, Garfield High School of Seattle threatened to boycott the MAPS test, but I believe they didn't understand what type of test it is, what the test offers, or how to access the information that is created from this assessment. They even referred to the MAPS test as a standardized test, which it is definitely not. The MAPS assessment is an adaptive assessment, which provides teachers with relevant data that allows teachers to truly see where their students are academically. First of all, we need to understand what exactly a computer-based adaptive assessment is. An adaptive assessment is a computer-based test where when a student responds to a test item, the items change to reflect the performance of the preceding item, meaning that the test responds to how the student answers. If the student gets the question correct, it then offers a more difficult question. If the student misses a question, it asks another question that is similar in academic level or a less difficult question. One of the issues that many teachers have with standardized tests is that in these tests, every student receives the same number of questions at the same academic level. They show us if a student can meet a given standard instead of telling us where they are at academically. A computer-based adaptive assessment does just that. They provide educators with the important data of the academic level of their students. The aim of the adaptive assessment is to provide a reliable measure of the construct using a small number of focused items. It does this by asking questions that progressively become more difficult as the child answers questions correctly. Adaptive assessments have been found to be effective because of their ability to continually challenge the test takers. The assessments are adaptive in nature where the selection of the successive item will depend on the student's performance of the item. Thus, students with high ability will not waste time in solving average questions that do not excite, challenge, or interest them. Adaptive assessments are not only more efficient, but they provide a more accurate estimation of the learner's level of proficiency. The actual taking of the test is less monotonous for the test taker because the questions that are generated are tailored to the proficiency level of the test taker, and they do not have to waste their time on questions that are too easy or too difficult. By delivering the MAPS assessment at different times throughout the year, teachers at our school will have valuable data about our students available to them. The data from MAPS assessments allows teachers to adjust whole group instruction and create flexible groupings for students at similar academic achievement levels. The MAPS assessment will be very helpful when it comes to making decisions on RTI placement, because teachers can see the strengths and weaknesses of each pupil and focus on areas that require remediation. Once we decide to move to the MAPS assessment, there are a number of things that we will need to do in order to really use the assessment with fidelity. When used correctly, adaptive assessments like the MAPS test gives teachers data that can be used to drive instruction. MAPS testing allows teachers to monitor the progress of students throughout the school year. The assessment is intended to serve as a vehicle for database formation of subgroups of students with similar academic levels. In order to be able to use the assessment correctly, we must first train our educators. We will first train them on the assessment, what it looks like, how it works, and actually have them take the test. We will discuss and learn the numbers. What is a RIT score? How does it relate to them academically? We'll talk about how does the test break the results up conceptually, understand how the tests find the scores. What do the figures mean? How can teachers use this information? How can they use the data to track student growth over the school year? How can teachers use the data to adjust learning targets and curriculum for their classes throughout the school year? How can the data help them differentiate their instruction, adjust whole group instruction, create small groups around similar academic levels? After we give the test in the fall, we will look over the data, have group-level discussions of our findings, and develop plans of how to work with the deficiencies we found, or how to challenge those students that scored above grade level. After we give the second test in winter, we will again look over the data, discuss how our numbers changed, and what we did over that period of time that may have influenced the change. We can look at subgroupings and classroom-level academic decisions. Finally, in May, after we give the third test, we can see the growth of our students over the entire year. Unlike state testing, which won't provide us results until the following fall, the data gives us an opportunity to self-reflect on the success of the school year and what areas we need to work on. It also provides us with data that can help us make data-based academic decisions for the next school year. If we use the MAPS test the way it was designed, we will not only impact student learning, but also impact ourselves as effective teachers. Through this program, we will have the data we need to make accurate academic decisions on the students we are currently